We were on a roll with Port Royal Mayor Kevin Phillips. You guys are growing a lot. Everybody talks about Hardyville, everybody talks about Bluffton. You guys are growing a lot. Managing that is going to be an interesting thing for all of us to watch and an interesting thing for you guys to do over the next, 5-10 years.
Yes, sir. So actually, and that was one thing, again, very proud of this council and this staff. We always say we're trying to be proactive and not reactive. You know, sometimes that sounds like a funny thing coming from a governmental entity, because it does seem like we're just kind of, it can look like sometimes it's just reactive. Yeah. But, you know, if you we know certain things. This area is growing. It's projected to continue to grow. That is the reality of the situation. We also know that there are things that are special and unique to Port Royal and the culture and the character, and we don't ever want to lose those things. So we always talk about, too, how we're in Port Royal, we're trying to preserve and protect our past while we build our future. So one thing we did, we noticed this growth was coming. We saw a lot of development that we were starting to see didn't match and feel like Port Royal. So we actually last year implemented a 1-year moratorium on multifamily apartment units, because we were seeing some of these buildings come in and they really just weren't fitting. Nothing against apartments, nothing against renters. I've rented many times in my life. I've lived in apartments. I've lived in, so we want people to be able to live in Port Royal. However, we want it to continue to look and be and feel like Port Royal. So we put in the moratorium, and we had our planning department work very hard to go through our planning codes that have now been in place for over 2 decades and make sure that they are producing what we want to see when it comes to aesthetics in the town. You all know, everyone has, when you go somewhere and you look at something and it just feels right. This building makes sense. And then you see places that go, how did that come from? So we wanted to try to heed that off a little bit. So we pushed pause on the multifamily units. We did that for a year and extended it for 6 more months. So 1.5 years on that. We figured that was reasonable. And we gave our planning commission time to go through and go through our codes.
Yeah.
So they've done that.
Yeah, do you see that extension continuing even maybe a little further?
At this point, we don't, because we've achieved our goal. We went through our planning codes and we've made the edits, and we're in the middle. That's already gone first reading. Now it'll be second reading. And the main goal of those edits and those codes is not to say no more multifamily, but it's to encourage a diversity of architecture. What we were seeing in Port Royal is apartment companies that build apartment complexes, not from this area, out-of-state developers, nothing against them either, but out-of-state developers, and they build a certain product, and they can build that product anywhere, and it looks the same everywhere they go. And so we're saying now in Port Royal, if you want to build multifamily in Port Royal, that's fine, but we're trying to create incentives for a diversity of architecture, a diversity of aesthetics, and create that, and continue to have that cool, coastal, and far from ordinary feel that Port Royal is known for.
I was hoping you'd get the tagline into all of this. That's great stuff. So when does the moratorium come off?
So it's got a few more months left on it, and the goal of that was for it to sunset as our new planning codes take place. So after we vote on those at our next meeting, second reading, those will now become in place, and the moratorium will sunset over there.
You guys have done, a terrific job. You've had folks around you to look at and to see how they've handled things, and you guys have responded quite well. Kevin, great to talk to you. Looking forward to continuing our relationship. Hopefully it won't take as long to establish it as it did with you guys in Safe Harbor, but we appreciate the time, and good luck to you, Kevin, up in Port Royal. Thanks so much. We want to thank all of our guests for making us just a little bit smarter over the last 30 minutes, and a special thanks to you for tuning in. If you missed anything at all, we'll be back in 90 minutes. I'm Bob Stevens.